guys, and welcome to this week's episode of We Are the Bonsai Supply. I am Jerome, and today we're going to work on this hot mess right here. So this has been a request from one of our viewers that I'm going to do a Chinese elm work. This is my Chinese elm. I have had it in my collection now for a couple of years. It's not all that old, but it's very interesting because it is grown on a rock. So in the episode before last, where I was repotting the Vitex, I was talking about two root over rock techniques. One of them is to attach the roots to the rock and then bury the rock in soil and then just let the roots naturally attach themselves to the rock. I also explained that you can lay the roots on top of the rock the way that you want them to, cover those roots with moss, and then just let the roots attach. Now this right here would be the third technique. I took the tree and I potted it into a very deep pot, and I just let the roots grow and thicken up. And then once I repotted the tree after about a year or so, the roots were pretty thick, so I did the root selection where I removed all of the roots that I didn't want to keep, and I just attached it to this rock. So I laid one main root down into this channel of the rock, one on the side, and then a third one in the back, the one right here. So I think this tree is fine with only 3 roots. Sometimes it can be overpowering if you have, too many roots, or it can look a little messy. So I think the 3 roots look actually really clean. So what's going to happen here now, this tree has completely attached itself to the rock. Now I'm going to remove these wires that actually kept the tree in place, and as these roots will thicken up, they will attach themselves more to the rock. In the future though, it will look kind of like lava that has run down the side of a mountain. That's what the roots will look like. Now the rock that I chose is a feather rock because it's very accessible to us here in Florida. One of the things that we're going to do is we're going to remove the wires today. We're going to strip the leaves, defoliate the entire tree, and a few branches have thickened up too much, and I'm going to correct that now. And I'm just going to trim the tree back and maybe remove some crossing branches, and I'm just going to improve the overall design of the tree. So while I was defoliating, I saw that there's a couple problem branches which I'm going to address first. But first, let me bring you in a little closer. Alright, so the first branch that we're going to look at is this branch right here, which is very thick and very straight. And also, if you notice, the guide wire really cut into the bark there, so we're going to have to remove this guy. There we go. So I used this guide wire to bring this top branch a little closer to the bottom branch. And when I did this, this branch was not that thick, so I didn't feel comfortable wiring it just yet. So that's why I just used the guide wire for now. Now if we look at the next branch, or still the first branch that I was talking about, the reason why this is a problem branch is because it is very straight and very thick. You see how straight it is, and then it comes into here. It's very dominant and it's very straight. If you look at this branch over here, this branch has great movement. It comes out of the trunk, and then it has great movement into every single of the branches. So it has movement into all of the branches, and that's what I would like to achieve. So this branch up here, oops. So this branch right here is just too straight for me, so I'm going to remove it. I like to remove them because keep in mind in a couple of years this branch will be even thicker and it's going to look even more out of place than it does now. So what you don't see from this angle actually is that I have a really nice branch here in the back. So I'm going to take out this main branch and then just wire this branch over, and then the problem is solved for now. So I'm going to use here the concave cutter so that I can get a good grip here it is. So I had to grab a bigger concave cutter since this is such a big branch. I'm just going to clean this up. So after making a big cut like this, I always like to use the cut paste and just dab a little onto the wound, which acts like a liquid band-aid. And this actually protects this area from rotting or from an insect infestation. And this just really seals it and allows it then to heal without any problems. So now I can go ahead and wire these branches over into place. And for that, I'm going to use a pretty thick wire. So the way that you can see if this wire is thick enough for this branch is by taking a little piece of wire like this and pressing it against the branch, and you see how the wire is moving but the branch is not. That means that this wire is not thick enough to bend this branch over. So I'm going to have to take a wire that's a little thicker than this. So this thicker wire is actually moving the branch, so I know that this is thick enough. So another problem branch that I see right after I cut this branch off is this one up here. So it comes out of the tree like this, and it goes up and it bulks up pretty thick here, and then this branch right here is too thick to bend at this point. So I'm just going to take this off, and I'm going to bring this branch down instead. Or I have another branch up here which is a lot thinner. I'm actually going to bring this one down instead. So here. So it seems like this was a pretty drastic move, but again, this young branch here is a lot more pliable, so I can place this the way that I really want it to be placed right now, and then once it heals over and thickens up, it's going to look a lot better than it did before. Another problem branch that I see is this one in the back here. The bottom branches should always be the thickest ones and then get thinner as they come up to the top. But this branch right here is thickened up so much that it almost loses the shape of the tree. So I'm going to take this one back all the way. Okay, so now at this point I'm going to wire this branch out first into position, and then I think I'm going to take this branch in the back here and just replace this branch from up here with this one. The rest of the branches, they look pretty good. They have great movement and they grow from thickest to thinnest. So I think all the problem branches at this point have been eliminated. So far I only removed 3 really thick problem branches. And I like to eliminate them right as they occur. I don't want them to get too thick, and if this branch, if I would have left this one, maybe by next year this time, it would have gotten so thick where I might have had to remove the entire top because it wouldn't work together anymore. It would either become a really ugly scar, or it would thicken up too much where it would become like a little knot in there, and then I have to go back and fix it, and that will actually take much more time than if I just were to go in here and just remove that branch. So as I'm wiring these branches, what I'm going to do, all the branches that are slightly damaged, I'm going to cut them off because they grow back so fast. All the branches that grow straight up like this one grows up from the main branch, right? So this one I'm going to cut it back immediately. If I weren't to cut this back immediately, this would become thicker and thicker, and I would lose the shape of the branch, and then this branch would actually start to compete with the leader of the tree. The leader of the tree is always the tallest, always the highest and the tallest part of the tree, so which is up here, probably this one at this moment right now. So now what I'm going to do is, before I wire the rest of the tree, I'm just going to cut back all of these long shoots because I know I'm not going to style these branches out to here. I want the entire tree to be fairly close and compact. I don't want them to run too fast. So I'm going to trim them back, shape them, and then I'm going to let them grow out again, which then makes the tree stronger. I'm going to cut the tree back again and let it grow out again. It's a constant letting it grow and trimming it back. So for this job, I'm going to use our Ashinaga scissors. They're very sharp. I could also use the Kode Kodiri. I might not be saying that right. I'm not Japanese. My apologies, but I do the best I can. These are exactly the same. It's just up to the individual. So some people prefer these ones because they have a bigger opening, and some prefer these because they have a smaller opening and they're slightly longer. So when you work on the inside of your tree, these are great because you can reach much further. Then these are much bulkier than the bottom ones, and you might not be able to get into the middle of the tree when you might have to. So I'm going to just go ahead and remove all the branches right away that I see are problem branches, such as this one right here. And then these shoots, I'm just going to trim them back for now. I'm not really going to worry about where I'm going to keep these branches at the moment right now. I'm just going to trim them back so that I don't have to use and waste that much wire right off. You see this one right here? This is another great example of a branch that should be removed since it is going straight up. So I'm going to remove this one, and now the branches are moving away from the trunk. You always want the branches to grow out and not up and not down. Now if you are growing a cascade type style, that's a whole different story, but for something like this, you want the branches to grow out. So if you are growing a broom style tree, you want the branches to go up a little more instead of out completely. If you are growing a windswept, you want all the branches to sweep into one direction. But since this one is an informal upright, I really want all the branches to come out from the tree like this. I don't want them to grow up or down. So now I'm just going to go ahead and wire the entire tree really fast. Hopefully you can keep up with your eye. Let's just go for it. So now I finished wiring the tree, and the reason why I was in front of the tree looking at the tree like this is because I'm trying to find the front of the tree. So last time when I styled the tree, this was the front of the tree where you could see both of these roots and this in the back. But now that I'm looking at it more, this branch would have to be removed because this branch is actually blocking the view of the movement in the trunk. So I'm thinking if I rotate it just slightly this way, and if I bend all the branches out a little this way, just position them a little different, then I can keep it as is, because otherwise I think I'm going to have to remove that branch. But I think this looks pretty good because at this angle you can see the entire rock, you can see the two roots, and you can see this piece back here as well, which you were not able to see before when it was like this. So I think we're going to start it like this, and I'm going to start just on one side, work my way up to the top, and then start on the other side. So this is the first branch I'm going to position. I'm going to bring some Alright, so all the branches are now in place, and I think it came out really good. Actually, much better than I thought it was going to come out. Since I removed this thick branch that was coming out of here, it adds a lot more movement into this branch, and I think this tree really tells a story now, or is starting to begin to tell a story. And what I mean by that, it looks like it's a really old tree that has gone through a lot, and that's why all of the branches are not beautifully placed. They look a little, you know, almost, I don't want to say ugly, but they have so much movement and they look gnarly and very old. It just looks like the story of a very old tree. And at the new angle, you can see into the movement of the trunk. You can see the root placement. You can see how the rock splits in the back. And this is actually a really good composition because the rock is really interesting, the roots are really interesting, and the tree overall is very interesting as well. So please let me know in the comments below what you guys think of my new project. And as always, if you guys have requests on what you want me to work on next time, you know, please write it in the comments and I see what I can do. I'll catch you guys next time.